All right, guys. What is going on? Did you ever think I would be pulling back up this graphic again? We be putting up this information. I wasn't sure when I was going to be doing this again. But finally, for the first time in nearly 1 year, the last episode of Monday Night Raw I reviewed was the August 16th, 2021 edition. The go-home show to last year's SummerSlam. I had enough. I was burned out. I just wanted to focus on what I wanted to enjoy on this channel. But now, since Vince McMahon's gone, and the Triple H era officially has begun, I'm ready to go for the ride, and I'm ready to see how this show grows. So, to the best of my abilities, on top of my crazy schedule, as of, yesterday, August 1st, 2022, Raw and SmackDown reviews, as long as I can fit them into my schedule, are coming back to this channel. As again, it's going to take time, but I'm looking forward to see how Triple H regains the momentum in the WWE. As head of creative, writing Raw and SmackDown. Don't think NXT yet. We'll see though. But we're going to get rolling here, guys. Welcome back to Raw Reviews. This is, as always, the Club with the Man 1993. We are live for the Fallout show from SummerSlam 2022's edition of Monday Night Raw, which took place in Houston, Texas. And believe it or not, the last episode of Raw I reviewed took place in San Antonio, Texas. And so, as I keep saying, it's going to take time. Triple H wrote NXT. It was a 1 hour show. Well, briefly 2 hours when he was in charge until he got the boot. He got the health problems. And then Vince, Bruce, all of those suckers took over NXT. So Triple H is not used to writing a 3 hour show. And once again, he's dealing with characters that nobody is invested in. It's going to take time. I won't lie. I set my expectations a little bit higher last night. Didn't quite hit my expectations. Because SummerSlam, it started off with so big with the Raw Women's title match and the Becky Lynch face turn, and then Bayley return, and then Dakota Kai returning, and Io Shirai debut on the main roster. Well, Io Sky now. So my expectations were kind of set high, thinking, oh, maybe Triple H is going a little more out than it was. Not quite exactly. This was like a calmer, good episode of Raw. It wasn't perfect. I saw some things that I was just like, yeah, we couldn't really work our way around it. A lot more promos, though, felt organic. I also enjoyed the fact that we weren't seeing these ads in between saying, WWE has this many subscribers, more than this, and this. I like how we're seeing more fun facts about these superstars, allowing us to begin to be able to get to know these superstars more. There was something about Kevin Owens last night, I think that was shown. Or we had that vignette, talking about the history and the prestige of the United States Championship. And we had a tournament, two triple threat matches, and then those winners face each other for number contender for the U.S. title. Any more of these mid-card titles just get someone random that just, beats the champion clean in a non-title match and then loses in the title match to bland boring. No. Something different. We saw a lot of different things on the show. So, I thought it was good. I thought it's a good way to get back to reviewing Monday Night Raw. Of course, we do have Becky Lynch, who seemingly is injured. We'll talk about her, of course, to start off the review. I don't have too much time, though, so I'm going to try to keep this within a half hour if I can. But let's check the live chat, though, just to see, of course, who's here. And we got Mark. Pretty good, Mark. How about yourself? Wishing Becky a speedy recovery. Definitely, for sure. A little breather, though, for Becky will not hurt. I have somewhat of an idea for the women, though, on Raw, of course, at least. We'll talk about that, of course, when we get there. But let's roll right in and let's talk about the show. Like I said, it was a good show. Didn't make as big of a splash as I thought it would. Not quite. But what I like, again, is we really only had, like, 5 or 6, like, storylines in this whole episode. And everything really mattered and had a purpose to it. Like, everything I watched did not feel like a filler thing. You know, like, the most filler we probably got was maybe the whole Seth Rollins and Montez Ford thing. But that, at least, was really the story about what's going on with the Street Profits here. Not sure if I'm fully for what they're going to do with the Street Profits, but, you know, I like that they actually are trying something. That's like I said, I don't mind that we get, like something that sucks. But the thing that just bothers me most, the reason why I stopped reviewing Raw and SmackDown, the reason why I lost total interest in those shows, is because I felt like my confidence was, not my confidence, my intelligence was purposely being trolled with. That's what Vince did. Now that he's gone, we know that they're actually trying to produce good stories. They're actually trying to do things, which is why people like Dakota Kai is coming back. There's rumors of Naomi and Sasha Banks are going to be coming back. Sasha Banks! I didn't think they would get her back. But we'll have to wait and see. But we're going in a right direction. It's going to take time to make these characters interesting. There's one person I thought who was the star of this show, and I'll mention his name, of course, when we get there. But I'm on limited time. Let's get rolling and talk about this episode of Raw. Again, the SummerSlam Fallout Show, 2022. We opened up with Becky Lynch coming out to the ring with her arm in a sling. She gets on the microphone to welcome us to the big time, and then she starts talking about hitting rock bottom and not knowing who she was when she lost the title. But then at this year's SummerSlam, she remembered who she is. It's not about, you know, the fancy clothes or the constant need for glory or validation, because the whole story of her, you know, being a heel was that, you know, the crowd wanted Bianca. You know, Becky got the backlash for how the company buried Bianca. Well, I wouldn't say completely buried, but like just knocked her off the mountain the way they did it. But Becky, remember, it wasn't all about the glory. It's about persistence, and she was separated from reality. When she separated her shoulder at SummerSlam, she could either give up or give it all she had. She fought through everything in probably the most 20 painful minutes of her career, and again, that painful shoulder made her realize that she had become so separated from reality. And even though she lost, she knew she'd been given her best, but it wasn't good enough. But she was reminded that she is not defined by one match. She defines the match, and so too with titles. She won't be defined by any man. She defines the man. And as we start this new era and a new comeback story, but she wants to give credit, though, first to the woman who pushed her every week from the last year the best she could, which is Bianca Belair. Great story there with Becky. You know, yes, you know, obviously she came back. She wanted her glory back. Obviously, though, the fans had someone moved on to Bianca Belair. And yes, it wasn't her fault that she got like that backlash from you know, how the company booked Bianca. But in turn, it made people turn on Becky. And Becky, you know, obviously blamed Bianca for that storyline-wise. But then Becky mentioned this whole promo basically about reality was this business is not about this. It's about the statements you're making. The statements are the whole reason why Becky Lynch has been here in the first place. For the women's revolution. And making women's wrestling what it is today. That's why she's here. She's not, and she's saying that, you know, yes, I came up short, but, you know, not many women can say, you know, they can do what Becky Lynch has accomplished. What she even accomplished in a loss and whatnot. I love that promo. And then Bianca came out and says how Becky doesn't define the man. She is the man. And then they embrace, Becky tells her to hold the dam and she'll see her soon. So Becky, of course, is supposed to be out. I mean, I heard a rumor 2 weeks to 12 weeks, I heard. So she could be out for the rest of the year. Truthfully, I'm hoping she's back by Survivor Series. Why is that? I'm going to pitch an idea later on based off what I got from this show. We'll have to wait until we get to Bianca's match later. But Bianca says how there's a level of mutual respect between the two of them, and that means something to her. She's learned so much, and she knows there's a target on her back. But she won't be caught slipping, and that's why she's still standing as our Raw Women's Champion. And she'll be ready for whoever's next, whether that's Bayley or Bayley's little friends. And then we cut backstage to where Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky are doing a 3-on-1 beatdown on Becky Lynch. And they're attacking her injured arm. Bianca rushed back and tried to figure out where they went to, but nobody knew as they ran off, unfortunately. Then we had, first we had a recap of Miz versus Logan Paul, the match that surprisingly probably stole the show. And Logan Paul had a recording from his home saying he signed his full-length contract and be excited to make his next appearance. Wherever that is, I don't know. Gotta turn him heel. Then we had this video package that covered the history of the United States Championship, narrated by JBL. And it's set up for 2 triple threat matches tonight. The winner faced each other later on in the show, and they would be crowned the #1 contender for the United States Championship. Here's a star-building story, and I love this. Instantly, it's already starting to make the United States Championship feel like it actually means something again. Instantly got me hooked again for the United States Championship. The first match, AJ Styles, Mustafa Ali. Can we please bring back Mustafa Ali's old theme? I mean, I don't mind the heel theme he had, but if he's gonna be just who he was again, might as well, just give him his babyface theme back. He's someone actually also that could stay now that Triple H is taking over, because he wanted out. But I think he's somebody who will be in good hands with Triple H. It's just Triple H can't mend every single one of them at the same time. But one of them, of course, he did tonight, but it wasn't anybody in this match. Not saying he booked them bad, but the main star that was built on this show, that basically Triple H said we're giving this guy a push, was not in this match, but in another match. Actually, 2 matches involving the U.S. title. AJ Styles, Miz, and Mustafa Ali, though, was a pretty good match. Of course, the best part was definitely was that finish. Miz, in a skull-crushing finale, I think it was on Mustafa Ali. But the Miz couldn't capitalize with his injured ribs that he got from the match with Logan Paul, and Ali kicked out. Ali was taken to the corner, laying knees up on top, but then Ali went up, got Miz down, hit the 450 splash, but then as he hit the 450 splash, his momentum ricocheted him back up to AJ Styles, who caught him and followed him and clutched him and followed up with the Styles Clash. That was a great combo. It was not quite, but it was almost as good as whenever Daniel Bryan, Mustafa Ali, and Kevin Owens wrestled in that very, very underrated triple threat match from Fastlane 2019, where Bryan won by hitting Ali with the running knee while Ali was in the air doing like the 450 or the 054, whichever one it was. That was sick. But that combo right there was a great combo there. But AJ Styles wins. He was one of the 2 people who was going to be in that #1 contenders United States champion, #1 contenders match for the U.S. title against the winner of the second triple threat match. We have Bayley, Dakota, and Io being interviewed backstage. They tease further developments later on tonight. They were running the show. Like, the way they booked Bayley, Dakota, and Io tonight reminded me of the first episode of NXT when the Undisputed Era first came to the NXT. They were just like all over the place, wrecking havoc, looking like the true boys are in town right here. Well, they're not boys, but girls, whatnot. We also have the Usos getting interviewed, saying how SummerSlam was business as usual, and they're going to beat the Mysterios later on. In the main event for the Undisputed Tag titles. Which, of course, I don't think we've seen that match since they feuded last year when the Usos first won the tag titles. Which, of course, yes, that match was definitely overdone for sure a lot. And then we have Seth freaking Rollins, who came out. And he talked about how Matt Riddle basically is in his rearview mirror for the time being, and he's focusing on Roman Reigns now, which not happening yet because Drew McIntyre's got Roman at Clash of the Castle, which could be where Roman drops the titles. But the Street Profits interrupt, and of course Seth says he doesn't want to share his spotlight tonight, and he says how they lost against the Usos and they suck, and you guys should probably just break up. Dawkins, though, points out that they beat Seth to win the tag titles once upon a time, in which Rollins, denied, but it was true. And then Montez Ford says how Cody Rhodes beat him up in Hell in a Cell with just one booby. And then Rollins asked if they came out for a fight, and he'd love to stomp both their heads in the stage, but there's two of them and one of him, so it's not really fair. So they proposed a singles match. A referee then came out for them to play rock, paper, scissors, but then Montez Ford went psych and grabbed the referee and didn't even play and ran down to the ring. The rumors are they're getting ready to break up the Street Profits. So I guess that's just the start. From Montez's reaction to disappointment to when they lost the match at SummerSlam to this is starting to look like they're planting the seeds for it. Even though I still think, with the lack of tag teams, they should still wait a little bit. I mean, I get it. Montez Ford has so much singles potential. And especially with Triple H, I think he'll excel. Actually, I'll say this. If Triple H can fix someone else, too, I would still like to see that dream match I had in NXT. That didn't happen in NXT, but I would have loved to see it in NXT, of course, when Triple H was in charge. Ricochet and Montez Ford for the North American title. I would have loved to have seen that match when Ricochet was champion in NXT. We still can get it here on the main roster, maybe. We'll see. But Seth Rollins took on Montez Ford in a very solid back and forth match. Rollins, though, beat him with the stomp. Afterwards, Rollins would hit another one, but then Angelo Dawkins made the save. But again, the tease is still there for, the seeds are being planted to break up the Street Profits. Again, like I said, I still think they should wait. But I think it's going to be coming sooner than we thought. If there is a draft, if they're not any of the brand split, I think it's probably going to come by the draft. Probably. We'll see. Asuka and Alexa Bliss had a match. Face on face. Match was fine. The last time, I remember these two had a really good match on Raw right before Rumble in 2018 when Alexa was champion. It was a non-title match, of course. And of course, Alexa lost because that's when champions lost all the time. But then the match ended in a no contest because Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky came out and beat down. And then Bianca Belair came out to even up the odds. And then Bianca says, I don't care which one of them, she wants a match tonight. And then Io seemed to be the one to gesture that she wants it. So that did set up for a match later on the show with Bianca and Io. And then we get the second triple threat match of the night. We get Dolph Ziggler. Shoosh! Shoosh, please. Chad Gable. Thank you! And Tommaso Ciampa. Or, of course, he's still just Ciampa. They had this triple threat match. It was another solid match. And I thought to myself, this would be the best time to really build a new star and give someone a victory over AJ Styles. And Chad Gable and Tommaso Ciampa were both the two people I was rooting for in this match. And I got my wish. Tommaso Ciampa won this match. It was solid, very well done. And he was going to face AJ Styles. later in the show, and the winner between that match would become #1 contender for the United States Championship. Ciampa wins the fairy tale ending. We also then get a recap of Edge's return at SummerSlam after his fall from his Mountain of Omnipotence from the Judgment Day. Edge then returned with his old Metalingus, on this day, I see clearly. So I guess he's still like the rated R superstar, but he's also, being the Brood, not sure what gimmick he's playing on, but basically he went back to his old self, basically, from before his heel turn. Which could have worked if Vince didn't try to, get his hands on the Judgment Day and make it what he wants. And that's the reason why Edge got written out of the Judgment Day storyline. Kind of also making his feud with AJ a little pointless. I really didn't think we had the match we could have had between AJ and Edge, unfortunately. But, of course, I like how he started this promo. Like Becky, he had a very generic, organic, not generic, very, organic, poem that we tell was not too scripted. He was glad that Houston gave him the reaction that they gave him, because he admits, for the past few months, he's been a bit of an asshole. But now, we all get what we want. And I'm like, yes, that's right, we do. We finally get what we want. He says, I'm going to keep it simple. I created the Judgment Day. I wanted to help underutilized talent, such as Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. And to be honest, it felt like they were just getting started. Which is very true, which is why Judgment Day is still, in a weird limbo stage right now. But apparently the first taste of power clouded them, and they apparently thought they learned everything they could from him. But they were wrong. Now to be fair, they did pull one over with Finn, and they put Edge on the shelf for a few months. But he pulled himself out of hell at SummerSlam, and they put him in, and now he wants to destroy what he created. His mission is to end Judgment Day. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, it's a tough call because I want to see Judgment Day get over. They are three talents that Triple H obviously really relies on. Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest. I mean, definitely Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. Those are two people he put in charge of his show in NXT. Finn Balor twice, keep in mind. Twice. But tonight was not the night to make Finn Balor a main eventer again, unfortunately. So I hate to see Edge, completely, tear it down. Unless the idea is to end Judgment Day and to, repackage, Finn, Damian, and Rhea. Even though I feel like of all of them, Rhea's the one killing it the most now, because she's wearing the pants in this stable, basically. Because she's taking out the men and whatnot that they're going up against. It's pretty badass. But, so I'm still, torn as to, where I want to see us go. I would like to see Finn Balor maybe get a win over Edge or something. But like I said, I also wonder if maybe, it would be dumb for Edge to lose and then go back to, the same hole he was in before, basically. You know what I mean? It's just a weird position. Speaking of which, the Mysterios are interviewed backstage, and they believe that the Judgment Day is in a rear view mirror and busy with Edge. Not quite true, of course. And he knows just how savage Edge can be. Of course, Ray thanks Edge for his help, avenging her pride, but tonight is about one thing: becoming the undisputed tag team champions in the main event. And then before we have the match of Bianca Belair and Io Sky, we have an interview with Bayley and her buddies, and Bayley says that everybody's talking about SummerSlam, and more to the point, everybody's talking about the three of them. And what do you expect? These idiots have been on a downward spiral since she left, and they needed a role model. So she took it on herself and got two of the very best. They know how to play the game, as Dakota Kai says. I love that reference. And they know what they want, how to get there. Soon, they'll be in full control. perfect, mission statement right there. And makes sense. Bayley was trying to be the role model and bring fresh talent to the table. And that's what she did. And then we have Bianca Belair and Io Sky have a nice match. I think that this was definitely a little bit of like a test right here, though. Because you're having your champion have a non-title match against someone making their main roster debut. You really want Io Sky to lose in her main roster debut? Or do you all, and you really want to keep the trend going of, DQ finishes and, pointless matches, or, champions losing clean in non-title matches, or championship contenders matches. It was kind of a tough spot, but I think the goal, the goal of this match was accomplished. The goal was to at least still give a taste of Io Sky. Because obviously she's one of the best performers in the world. That's no doubt about it for sure. But I think, both these women couldn't afford to lose. So how did it end? Well, earlier in the show, obviously they interfered in the match between Alexa Bliss and Asuka. See again how everything just had like a piece of the puzzle, like we had something happen earlier and it came together in the later part of the show. It's like writing an actual story! Storytelling! But they came out to even up the odds for Bianca. And then, of course, eventually, the six of them just start brawling. And because it got out of control, the match ended in a no contest. And the crowd was hot in Houston for this, and they're doing the let them fight chants. Let them fight! Let them fight! By the way, I will say this. There were several times, of course, where Houston was a little bit dead. But, of course, what felt good was to know is that, we know that the crowd believes that, these characters need work. We know that that the crowd believes that, they gotta build characters that we're actually going to care about. So, and what's also good to know is the piped-in noises are gone also as well. So back to natural crowd reactions, which we'll not have to worry about that after a while, because I'm sure the crowd will get hot again. But again, it's going to take time. But let me mention an idea here. Remember earlier I mentioned that I'm hoping maybe Becky Lynch could be back before Survivor Series? Here's my idea. Here's the vibes I got off of this brawl. War Games. What if they have Becky Lynch team with Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss, and then Bayley and her cronies, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, and a returning Sasha Banks in a women's War Games match at Survivor Series. You think Triple H will try to bring it to the main roster? We've had it in NXT since 2017. Why not bring it to the main roster? You want something different for Survivor Series? How about that? Women's War Games match at Survivor Series. Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. Oh, Becky inside War Games. Oh, boy. Asuka, Alexa Bliss. Versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Sasha Banks. I just created a dream match for later this year. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts down in the comments and description, of course. Oh man, I gotta get going in a few minutes. And of course, we're getting ready then for the United States Championship match. The number one contendership match. The Miz is backstage with his protege, Tommaso Ciampa, giving him a pep talk. Miz also says how he had Logan Paul beat, and the match was stolen from him by AJ Styles. As AJ interfered and took out Tommaso Ciampa. And says he's going to mentor Ciampa to the United States title. And I remember, Ciampa cut, a really good promo, as well. You could tell this was Triple H writing Tommaso Ciampa. Because right before this, Vince was giving up on Tommaso Ciampa. He was heading back to main event. The show main event. This, though, this man, Tommaso Ciampa, to me, was the star of this episode of Raw. He was the one that Triple H said, okay, let's start pushing this guy right here. Because he faced AJ Styles, and he beat him. And the thing was Miz got involved, had a couple little dirty tactics at the end, teased AJ Styles getting counted out. But even after Styles got counted, got back in the ring, Ciampa hit him with a knee, hit him with a fairy tale ending, and beat him clean in a pretty good match. Like, Tommaso Ciampa felt like a star again. And he's going to face Bobby Lashley next week for the United States Championship. And I'm like, heck yes. Heck yes. Like, I was hoping someone would have, I was thinking maybe we get like a face or a heel turn. Thought we were going to get in the main event. Didn't get it there, but we got a tease of some other cracks breaking. Got that there. I wanted to see a new return. Didn't get that, but it's okay. But I wanted to see somebody new get a spotlight. And Tommaso Ciampa got that spotlight on this show. He was the one I think came out looking the best in this whole show. And I popped. I popped when Ciampa won. I'm like, all right! In the midst of me uploading my, 16 other blurb videos that I was uploading last night. But I thought that was awesome. And he's going to face Bobby Lashley for the U.S. title. And I'm going to be honest, I love Bobby Lashley. I think it should give the title to Ciampa next week. Give the title to Ciampa. And also I'm hearing rumors they may bring back No One Will Survive. I hope those rumors are true. Oh dear Lord, that'd be so awesome to hear again. Live on live TV. In a few weeks, Raw's going to be here in Pittsburgh. I seriously may go. My friends and I are interested. I seriously may go. But Bobby Lashley was interviewed backstage, and he mentions that he'll defend the U.S. title every week because he lives for this. And he admits that Ciampa earned his shot. He's tough and hungry, and that makes him dangerous. But Lashley will beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. He humbled Austin Theory and put him in the rearview mirror, and he has no problem giving Ciampa a reality check by putting him in the Hurt Lock. Oh man, that's a very fresh match. I cannot wait. Like I said, I am actually hoping Ciampa wins. I love Lashley. Get him in the main event scene, though. You can put the U.S. title on Ciampa right now, and he'll definitely make that feel prestiged. I love that they made him a star on this show. And then we had the main event. We had the Mysterios versus the Usos for the undisputed tag titles. Good match. Couple close near falls. There was one part where I actually believed that the Mysterios were going to win with the frog splash that Dominic hit on the Usos. But then eventually the Usos won by hitting the 1D on Dominic to retain the tag titles. Afterwards, I look down at my phone and see it's like 10:55, and I'm like, oh shoot. Is this going to be, this past, week or so, oh man, you keep having this gut feeling this is going to be the moment. This is going to be the moment where Dominic turns on his dad. And I really thought it was going to happen. The Usos were staring them down, then they backed off. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. But then the Judgment Day hit the ring. I'm thinking, oh boy, could this be where, Dominic gives in again and he, is all set up by Dominic? But then I thought, no, wait, Edge was here earlier. Edge then comes out and clears the ring. And I think he hits Finn with an impaler, or something like that. I can't remember what he did to Damian Priest. But I do remember Rhea actually choked out Dominic with a triangle choke through the legs, which I thought was pretty sick. So I was just like I said, I do not mind Rhea Ripley looking like a badass taking out guys. That's making her look really badass. And probably right now the strongest member of Judgment Day. But then Edge goes to spear Finn. But then Rhea shoves Dominic into Finn, knocks Finn out of the way, and Edge spears Dominic by mistake. And we're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. The seed is planted. The seed is planted. How will Dominic react to that? Is that going to keep Dominic out for a bit, maybe? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Great cliffhanger, though, and great way to end the show. And you realize there was only 5 stories, I think, in this whole show. 5 stories. It felt like, I've analyzed, storytelling, since I've done my Seinfeld reviews. It felt like there was 5 different stories throughout the night. You know, the stuff with the women, the U.S. title, the small one with Seth Rollins and Montez Ford, the Usos and the Mysterios mixed in with Judgment Day, and was really a fifth one, but I don't know. But wow, not many stories, no filler. Everything had a purpose. How hard is it? And Tommaso Ciampa is a star. Is feeling like a star again. This is a show saying that Tommaso Ciampa is getting a push. Put the U.S. title on him next week. So, excellent job by Triple H to start off the Triple H era. I gave the show a B. Again, it wasn't perfect. You know, yes, we had like the awkward scenarios where it was like a DQ finish and a no contest, but it at least led to something. It led to a story. Like I said, this stuff with the women, I'm getting War Games vibes. Give me War Games between these women. That's what I think should happen. Live chat, just really quick, we have Tyler giving the show a B-. Okay. I think Selena Vega's out of injury, but I'm not sure when she's back. Mark said, I hope Triple H brings Ciampa, no one will survive back. Again, I have heard the rumors, for sure. What I think about Bayley's new stable, I love it. Like I said, I really think this storyline is teasing War Games. And I think it should happen at Survivor Series. You want some difference as brand versus brand, bring War Games to the main roster. The first triple threat match for the U.S. title was good. I like the finish of them actually ending of that match. Again, that counter from Ali, like ricocheting off of the 450 splash into the Styles Clash was amazing. Can we split the world and tag titles? If they're going to keep the brand split, I feel like they'll probably do that whenever they do another draft. Like, they'll probably say, okay, whichever show you get drafted to, that's where that's the title that you'll get. The other one's going to be vacated and go back over to, its original brand, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you'll get some new title designs. Who knows? We'll see where that goes as well. And Mark also gave Raw a B. Okay? But I got to get moving. Guys, excellent return for this Raw review. Hopefully SmackDown this week. Maybe review that Friday night. Not sure yet. I do have some things to do Friday. But maybe I'll get to review it live on Friday. We'll see. But hopefully SmackDown will also kind of like start showing those new era vibes as well. We'll have to wait and see. So guys, what were your thoughts on the first Raw in the Triple H era post SummerSlam? Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAir93. I look forward again, guys, to be continuing to talk about the rise of the WWE in the Triple H era. So until then, guys, I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night, and peace out, everybody.